I am here to talk about my event that took place on the 29th of January of this year. We called it Futures in Languages. We worked in collaboration with Marina at CSE. We also worked with Caroline Lynch at the University of Cardiff. She's Deputy Head for the Department of Modern Foreign Languages. We have been working on this idea for a number of years, inviting people in to speak to our students, to encourage students to take languages in a sort of opportunity, enhanced life possibilities kind of way. But it was following a meeting at the university discussing transitions from students doing GCSE to A-level and then into a degree that Caroline and I really started to think about bringing this together and putting on an event that would put students, in my case, students and their parents, and in university cases, students in touch with people whose careers have been improved, enhanced, or just possible because of languages. So we collaborated for a long time on what this event would look like, and eventually it happens on the 29th of January. So I wanted to talk you through our ideas. We also had with Marina, and a lot of support from Marina and a lot of discussions with Marina, looked at the trends that are happening globally, well, not globally, nationally, and in Wales, to do with decreased uptake of languages at GCSE. And it was something that for us is pretty alarming. We really wanted to change that and to work on the assumption that students also would be interested if they knew where languages could take them. So on my side, we invited year 8 and 9. It was important to us that their parents could come. It was important to us that parents were involved. We're very much a community school. We work with parents as partners, and it was something that we felt would support our students more and support parents in supporting their students, their children, in making the decision at GCSE. So we invited students. We then collaborated with St David's College to invite their students, and obviously the university students. We had reached out to Cardiff Met. We didn't get many students there, but that is something we want to work on for next year. But just offering from a young age all the way to postgraduate the idea that languages can only push you forwards. So using Caroline, Marina and my contacts, we set up lots of opportunities to talk to people, to contact different organisations, to invite them along to our event. So what you can see on the screen in front are people who did attend. So we had, as you can see, British Council came, we had the Senedd. We then started to sort of divide up the group that we had invited into more business and then into more sort of relations, diplomacy. So we had panel discussions. You can see at the bottom some of the students asking questions on those panel discussions. So the panel discussions, the aims were for the individuals or the organisations to talk about the role of languages in their organisation in a much more personal way, and to take questions from the audience. So the blue groups went first, and that it was super interesting what they said. And each time it was how important languages were in mobility and opportunity, in careers enhancing. And then we had the yellow group that personally I found absolutely fascinating, where they discussed really how they stopped global crises as a result of languages, but also how they kept public relations going, or international relations going. It was really fascinating. And meanwhile, we had behind this panel discussion, we had a stall set out, so you can see in the other pictures, stalls set out where students and parents could walk around and discuss the role of languages with the people who set up the stalls. And it was really fabulous. We had funding, so we were able to provide some food and refreshments for everyone who came along. And that was really, really popular too. And since it was held in my school, my canteen staff were really delighted to be involved with this. And it was, a real success. And you can see the range of languages there as well. So we really didn't want to stick with just international languages or languages that we teach in school. We wanted to go further than that, and involving Welsh was really important to us. So here was the first panel discussion, so driving innovation, business engineering. We yeah, this was really fascinating, really interesting. The people were so keen to be involved, and it was really lovely. I didn't have to sort of prompt them very much to be involved. They were really delighted to be involved, and all said they wanted to come along to the next one. We then had our second panel discussion. You'll notice that the GCHQ representative, we could not advertise them, and we couldn't publish their names either, and we actually couldn't take any photos of this. But they were brilliant, and they really wanted to be involved as well. So, we'd love to invite them as well. But what the people who, for me, ended up shining were the Inspector of Marine Accidents and the translation and feminist writer. They talked about issues that they had come across in Libya and in Iraq and in areas of the world that there are conflicts currently, and how they dealt with that through language. It was just absolutely fantastic. And we've had so much feedback from that panel discussion from everyone who attended, just saying what an absolute pleasure it was to listen to that level of discussion happening. We then had some feedback from Ruth Cox at the British Council, which was really, really positive as well, and has really propelled us into wanting to do this more, to put on another event, possibly in a location that would support more schools and students coming, because it was in the evening, which is always difficult for students to do once they've had a day at school. And it was in a location that is a little bit out of Cardiff. So going forwards, we would want to do it in a more central, more sort of imposing location, and to have it during the school day. Obviously, those have consequences. Schools would need some funding for that, all things that we are considering in our moving forwards. We've also been inspired by the Pearson More Than Words celebration that they are, or the campaign, sorry, that they have put forwards, that's in the Etihad Stadium in Manchester in July. It looks absolutely fantastic, and exactly what we're trying to do now. And thinking about the National Consortium for Languages Education in England, how can we mimic that in Wales? How can we have as much put as much importance onto languages? And the list below are people that couldn't make it this time but have expressed an interest for future events, and they are pretty prestigious, from local to international. So I think it's definitely something that people really want to continue doing. We've just got to work out how to support people. As it was when we set up this event, I wanted it to be about social mobility as well as international opportunities, really targeting students who don't necessarily think that languages or internationalism affects them, or is something that they've even considered, or that their parents have considered. So thinking of working with more sporting, more media, just so that you've got that glitz and that glamour, is something that I would like to do going forwards. And that's it. The impact on our students has been very positive. They really enjoyed it. Lots of them talked about continuing with their language learning. We only go to GCSE. Lots of them talked about continuing. But obviously the hurdles in continuing to A-level and then to university are very obvious and well publicised. And there are certain schools that don't teach the language past GCSE. The university has had its own difficulties in future language learning. And it's definitely a concern and something that we want to reverse.